much, Ambassador Sandoval. I now give the floor to the distinguished representative of Austria. You have the floor.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Excellencies, distinguished delegates, dear colleagues from around the world. It is my honor and privilege to address you on behalf of the Austrian youth. This great responsibility that was entrusted to me half a year ago carries with it a clear set of goals: to engage with the rich diversity that characterizes the youth of my home country, to represent and advocate their interests, and to support them in the completion of their challenges. Just like most of my colleagues among the youth delegates, I dare to assume I have been reflecting on what to speak about in this statement since the day I was appointed youth delegate. Unfortunately, the obstacles that today's youth has to overcome in order to live a safe, successful, and satisfying life are big. And the constraints that limit their unfolding are numerous. Therefore, the number of challenges that I could address today is correspondingly large. For example, I could talk about all the underage refugees that are being deprived of their future. In Austria, that is an issue that is hard to beat when it comes to topicality. I could talk about education, an issue that never loses its topicality and much less its importance, regardless of where you're from. Or I could talk about the recent implementation of the Sustainable Development Goals and their huge potential and significance for this and all future generations to come. But I decided that today I'm going to talk about an issue that manifests itself in all those areas, something that in the German language goes by the simple term of Jugendpartizipation, in English, youth participation. Honorable Chair, fellow delegates, many of us here, a group of young people that are participating, are the living proof that youth inclusion in decision-making has come a long way. In many of the countries that are represented here today, we can find national youth councils, school parliaments, and many other organizations and concepts that strengthen the voice of the young. And many of those institutions have only come up in the recent past. That's progress. It's an achievement. All of it is important, and it is necessary. But, and here's the problem, too often young people stand on the sidelines of politics and decision-making. Tragically, from the perspective of the youth, that happens both involuntarily as well as voluntarily. It happens involuntarily because laws are made by people that often believe that one requires experience in order to achieve progress. Because of that, voices of motivated and engaged youngsters may be heard, but too often they are not taken seriously enough. And eventually, the biggest role these passionate young people play is the one of a young face in a photo op picture on a Facebook page of one of these decision makers. The often quoted sentence, "young people are the future," is an overused cliche. But it is an overused cliche because it is an inherent truth. Easy policies that only satisfy short-term needs will come at a long-term expense that our generation will have to bear. I talk national debt, I talk retirement plans, environmental protection, integration. All of this refers yet to another one of those great German words, and it's called Generationengerechtigkeit, intergeneration fairness. And while I understand that nature of political reality, I would still like to address a strong appeal to the international community to strengthen even further the voice of the young on issues that matter most significantly to us. However, in these affairs, we also must take and look for responsibility among ourselves. Earlier I said that from the perspective of the youth, standing on the sidelines of politics and decision-making also happens voluntarily. By saying that, I refer to all those who see their democracy as granted and their right to vote as non-relevant. As we could see in a recent voting that was in international spotlight, young people are underperformers when it comes to voter turnout. And that's tragic. It's tragic and a waste. We should be lining up for the quest of taking part in the creation of our own future and not let it be dictated to us. On this regard, not without some pride, I can tell you that the Republic of Austria is one of very few countries in the world that allows its youth to vote at the age of 16. In my opinion, that's a good thing. It's a profitable situation for everybody. I think it would be an important step having this being implemented in more places around the world. And I would like to suggest to all of my fellow youth delegates to propose this in your home countries. This brings me to my last order of business, which is to express my great appreciation for the work of this committee and to thank all of you, both for your attention as well as for your participation. Thank you very much.
Muchísimas gracias.
Thank you very much, distinguished representative